Heyo everybody, Haku here with part 2 for my read-through of Magical Girl Raising Project, or Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Keikaku, Queens, Chapter 6. Sorry it's been so long since the last MGRP video. It's one of the things, I think one of the series and just general things I want to do better with on the channel, and be more consistent with. It's been so long that it's actually been before, like, all the stuff with my computer being screwed up and me getting sick and everything. And it's like, between all those different things that happened that screwed me over for a little while and me trying to build myself back into, okay, doing these videos, then doing these videos, Magical Girl Racing Project was like one of the hardest ones to really sort of start getting back into, to find like a schedule for, because I don't know, just the way that I record these videos, it's like they're just long enough to where it's kind of difficult to like bulk record them or anything like that without losing my voice. So it's one of those things where I have to find my like own specific day where I'm like, okay, we're just recording Magical Girl Raising Project today, nothing else for any other series. So it's one of the ones that was more difficult to like start getting back into. But just know that I'm hoping to be a lot more consistent with MGRP uploads in the coming future. Plus, Peaceful Days just came out officially. I know that Platt had said that they weren't done with the translation for that, so I'm just going to buy the official translation and read that. I don't know if I'll do it after I do Queens, or if I'll do Breakdown first and then just go back to Peaceful Days since it's just side stories, or if I'll just sprinkle in some of the side stories or the Peaceful Day story chapters every once in a while, just whenever I have some extra time, just do one of those. If I do buy it though, and buy it physically, it's going to be like, because I have a bunch of the other ones on the shelf this side, it's hard because it's mirrored looking in the camera. Behind me I have a bunch of the earlier volumes. So if I can get Peaceful Days, it's going to be weird reading it physically for like a video and stuff, but I guess that's the way we'll have to do it. Sorry, my throat feels really dry. Which is a terrible way to start this off since I'm going to be reading a while, but maybe a piece of dust just flew in there or something, I don't know. Either way though, let's go ahead and start reading the second part of Chapter 6. So we just got to the end of the fight, which I thought was really cool, between the Shufflin and Glacian. It was also a really big twist going into it, because I was like, wait, if Dark Cutie's there, then that means, like, it was so good. Also, I really loved Glacian's fighting style. They really got into Glacian's character and made me feel for her a lot just before taking her out, because they didn't just specifically say, hey, Glacian's definitely dead yet, but it kind of feels like that way. Also, all the stuff about strategy in the earlier part of this chapter was really good too, and not using Glacian's power too much to try to spy on the enemy, because if she saw Puck, it would kind of screw them over. I loved how much thought was put into that. But yeah, it seems like Glacian's been taken out. We're at the very end of page 14, moving on to page 15, with CQ Angel Hamuel. Now, I don't know if... I don't know if I read this at the end of the last video or not. I'm pretty sure I ended right at the end of this fight here. But either way, sorry if I did already read the CQ Angel Hamuel part. If I did, I'm just reading it again. I don't think it's very long, though. But yeah, starting end of page 14, beginning of page 15 with CQ Angel Hamuel. The explosion caused the tent to be destroyed as dust covered its surroundings. Other tents were also destroyed or blown away. Several seriously injured magical girls came out of the blast zone, although no one was confirmed to have died. Hamuel moved ahead and headed for Let. She found Let still on her chair. The Shufflin was with her and was also as confused. I know what happened. What is it? The Shufflin two that came back from scouting. They were mesmerized by Puck. Oh, she must have ordered them through their magical phones. We might not be able to trust the Osk faction here, but I kind of want to trust Let on this one. I kind of want to believe her. She could just be totally playing everybody. but I kinda want to believe her with this. Suicide bombing, wait. Hamuel said that to Let. Okay, so I want to believe what Hamuel's thinking here, and not that it's some sketchiness. Suicide bombing, They were targeting one of the Human Resources magical girls. It seems like she and 3 Shufflin were killed. Human Resources. The one who can see remotely. She was useful for us. So, they're planning on taking out my eyes, Well, it seems so. Earlier I exchanged information with the head of HR. I gave it to a Shufflin too. She may have reported it to Puck Puck. CQ thought of what happened before. She made a blunder. Puck Puck's power had an immediate effect over your imagination. Back then, when she used it on Hamuel, it wasn't on her full power. That time was subtle and grew slowly. In any case, this means they've allowed the enemy into their midst without Hamuel knowing. She had to carefully examine everyone in camp, all of their guests. They allowed Shufflin some slack because Shufflin were always considered his closest henchmen. Thus, they missed their unnatural behavior as always looking at their magical phones. As I thought, What's wrong? This doesn't seem like Puck Puck's usual methods. The sense of playfulness is low. Of course, because Puck Puck again would have done this as playing the friend game, but now that she has Snow White commanding the army, it's very, very, just about efficiency, really. Let rose from her seat, folding her fan over her right palm. She seems to be doing everything in her power, with almost no time for leisure, Focusing all her efforts on making the ritual a success, It seems so. Then, we must hurry. How far are the next scouts? They're halfway to the ruins. We're moving out. Come, we may be able to catch up with them on the way. Huh? Just then, a Hearts ran toward Hamuel. She whispered in her ear, and Hamuel's face frowned. What's wrong, It seems that we've captured an enemy soldier. They're being interrogated as we speak. In torture, anything is fair play. However, at a time like this, we mustn't forget humanitarianism. Well, I don't support it, but she was captured from the ruin, so she can't exactly be innocent either. Hamuel, you really are wicked, No, on the contrary, my stomach hurts bad just thinking about this. It wasn't me who asked for the torture. Then, who's the torturer, It's the Puck faction magical girl, and we have Uluru. Okay, this is funny. Alright, just checking my recording stuff, looks all good. Uluru didn't really want to go against Puck Puck. However, she wanted answers. She was told that everything would be fine so long as the ritual succeeded. She wanted to know what she wasn't told. She was convinced before, whenever Lady Puck smiled, she would feel calm and smile as well. Now, a dark cloud of doubt surfaced in her mind. She couldn't decide if Puck Puck was really on the right side. The enemy captured by the card soldier was someone Uluru didn't recognize, was one of the mercenaries that Puck hired. Her costume was fluffy and made of sponges. She didn't look like she was capable of fighting at all. Her magic seemed useless for battle too. She was apparently captured by falling down a hole. No, she's too useless to be a mercenary. Uluru approached the sponge magical girl. She whispered in her ear, "Be quiet. No one's around. I'm a spy. I'm with the Puck faction." The sponge magical girl looked surprised, but then she nodded. She believed everything that Uluru was saying. I love Uluru. Whenever I do a new favorite characters video, Uluru might be number 1. Uluru might be my favorite character at this point. She might have surpassed even Shadowgale. The sponge magical girl was in shock. Uluru was a Puck faction magical girl, but the part about being a spy for the Puck faction, that was a lie, and Uluru believed it was a lie. Uluru gripped her right fist. It's not good to think about things that'll distract herself. Now, you tell me everything you know, okay? Everything you tell me will benefit the Puck faction. Yes, I understand. What's your name? What's your magical skill? Magical Punji. I use my magic sponge to clean any dirty things. I love her already. Clean up dirt. So how are you supposed to fight with that? No, I'm not good at fighting, but I was very useful at the device. I helped in activating it. Oh, okay, yeah, we've seen her before. But since I had nothing to do after that, I decided that I wanted to help Lady Puck and be even more useful, so I wanted to go into battle. You helped in activating the device. Yes, I removed the first seal for it. I was told that only I could do it, but after that I had nothing to do, so... The magical device, what do you know about it? What does it do? magical girls enter the device, and then they can live forever in it. That's how more magical energy could be created. When it's activated, I'm going inside, myself. That means I'll always be watching over Lady Puck. Isn't that just the best? Okay, so Puck could... Either she wants to go in it herself, so that, like I've been saying, she can just infinite Tsukuyomi the world or whatever, with her magical power. Or she wants to use her servants to have like an unlimited amount of people to send into the device to continually just have power. Magical Punji smiled so brightly, but Uluru felt the opposite. After the seals are broken, Lady Puck will modify the device, then be able to use it. Even then, it's pretty hard to use. The chances of success are a bit low, but it's okay, because if that happens, we can just use the contract. It's said to give loads of luck, and we can use it successfully. Sachiko's contract. Hearing those words, Uluru fell down in shock. And now we're going to Hamuel again. Okay, I liked that little bit there. I really want to see more of Magical Punji. I hope she stays in the story and shows up some more. I actually don't know why, but I love her already. CQ Angel Hamuel. The ex-Puck magical girl, Is she capable of getting reliable information by interrogation? She can make them trust her in any story she makes up. It seems the info checks out too. Looks like our prisoner was assigned to the device, but her job was done and she had nothing to do. She went out to the battlefield. And that's how she was caught, When asked about how they planned to modify the device, the answer was Shadow Gale. The magical girl Flett talked about. She's going to alter the device so that it accepts magical girls and generates power from them. Oh? Ignoring the fact that we're against them, the idea of crossing over the limits of magic is actually a good idea. Even our research teams have been trying to figure it out. Is that what they say? Yeah, actually. And how do you know this information is reliable? Yeah, I forgot. Totally, that Shadow Gale was going to modify it too, so it produces power by magical girls going into it. But Puck can probably have Shadow Gale change it a lot, so that she can use it, again, either to just continually produce power by sending more girls in, or use it so that it won't harm her, but she can go in there and basically infinite Tsukuyomi the world. Flight gave me a list of magical girls, including missing ones that were taken by the Puck faction. I compared the procedure that the prisoner said happened with her actual magical skill. It seems to match up. Her behavior also matches up with how most magical girls are like when they're affected by Puck. Let Elder fan toward the sun. From the way the sun shined, her face seemed to be heated up. This was the first time Hamuel would have seen her face in any kind of stress from something. So, you're sure this information is in fact reliable, Absolutely. This info was retrieved using magic, too. Then, I'd like to inform everyone. Are you sure? Some people might be too afraid and abandon us. I don't care. Let the cowards flee. Shufflin' 2 requires no motivation. Mercenaries and those who come for money have theirs as well. As for Puck's toys, if we find out who they are, we will forever pressure them until they pop. A worse fate than death, And then, actually, that is good strategy. And we're jumping over to Flea then. Puck's intentions. Hamuel's voice clearly echoed in her head, explaining how Puck intends to misuse the device, and everyone clearly knows that Puck is now the #1 enemy. Irrespective of their original reasons, everyone had the same thought. If we don't stop Puck now, the entire world's in danger. Whether it's because of money, status, ethics, or for the time being, Puck became public enemy #1. At that time, there seemed to be a lot of confusion and chaos. The shuffling quickly quieted down much of the rabble. While all this was plus, it doesn't affect the negatives of losing Glacian. Puck pinpointed Glacian and aimed for her. They knew about Glacian's existence. The Shufflin' 2 that took the list of magical girls given by Flea immediately prioritized the most important target first. Glacian had no protection, and her fighting ability was lower than most of the combatants, but her magical skill exceeded any fighting skills she could offer. Her strategic mind was also an asset. If it were Flea, she'd also target Glacian first. The enemy is formidable. The Shufflins sent first were already manipulated when they had returned. They saw a gap in their mind's defenses and struck it hard. A ruthless and good strategy. Did Fleur underestimate the three sages, or perhaps it's someone else that she underestimated? The magical girl hunter, Snow White, came to mind. Fleur gritted her teeth. Boss, Deluge is here. Oh yeah, Deluge, if Glacienne is dead, then Deluge and Dark Cutie should seem pretty pissed. Ah, thank you. Let her in, please. Dark Cutie seems to be acting as if nothing was wrong. She had the same expressionless face that solidified her stoic character ever since the anime broadcasted. Despite losing her comrades Michan and Glacienne, she couldn't detect any trace of sorrow or mourning in her face. Fla wondered how it affected her inside. Fla couldn't see it from the outside. Princess Deluge came into the tent, replacing Dark Cutie. Now Fla was able to see that something was affecting her outside. Deluge was confused, and Fla knew exactly why. I need to talk to you about something. What? It was very subtle, but Fla knew that Deluge didn't care about Fla. From that small one-word reply, Fla could only detect negative emotions. Was it anger, murderous intent, or was it? You'll be leaving soon, and I'd like to settle this before you could go. It's about the man-made magical girl project, the one that turned you into a magical girl. Deluge's expression changed. She looked at Fla straight in the eyes. She was clearly gritting her teeth. A while back, I regained my memories. It seems I was part of that project. And now we're cutting to Deluge's point of view then. Deluge's body moved faster than she could think. She projected her trident on her right hand. She pointed the spear directly at Fla's throat. The temperature around the tent lowered immensely. The tips of Fla's curly hair began freezing and turning white. What are you talking about? I was an investor. I paid a large sum of money to fund the man-made magical girl project. Led by a magical girl named Lapis Lazuli, we wanted to develop our own technology of creating magical girls. That was being monopolized by the land of magic. As magical girls, our hearts were held by the land of magic. Even while negotiating, we couldn't see eye to eye. We wanted to escape. And you just believed in those kinds of things? It seems I did. Fla turned on the magical phone placed on her lap while nervously looking at the trident pointed at her throat. A stereoscopic image floated. Deluge opened her mouth. Fall? Hello, Deluge. It's been a while, Pone. You too. You lied to me? You deceived me too? No, Pone, and Fla wasn't exactly deceiving you either, Pone. According to Fall, in order to escape investigations, Fla had her memories of the man-made magical girl project removed. It was passed by Shadowgale toward Snow White. On the condition that Fla would rescue Snow White, Fall returned those memories to her. Whether or not Fla or Fall had deceived her, it didn't matter any more. Deluge gripped her trident tighter. Wait, Pone. Deluge stopped at Fall's cry. This can't just be solved by killing Fla, Pone. Remember what you wanted to do, Pone. You need Fla. You wanted to use her, Pone. Deluge's grip on her trident loosened. Fla breathed a sigh of relief as Deluge pulled the trident away from her. Thank you, Fall. I also agree on that. Even though you were doing it, I was actually concerned for my life there. Though I wasn't doing it to save you, Fla. You had that stance in the game, too. I don't remember that, Pone. It's fine if you don't. Fla's expression tightened, and she turned to Deluge. She smiled. Deluge knows Fla's smile, but there was no enjoyment behind it. Despite hiding behind pleasantries and sarcasm, Fla's entire body seemed to be tense. Both of her hands were gripped into fists on her lap, clenched so tightly you could separate the reddishness from the whiteness. Deluge, I can show you research materials on man-made magical girls. I can show you how to balance your body before and after transforming. I can supply you with supplements and necessary items, including the medicine you need to maintain luxury mode. Gradually, Deluge planted her trident on the floor, the spear tip piercing the ground. The ambient temperature began to warm once again. I can show you information, too. Why you were gathered, why you fit the criteria. I know what I've done with Selfish, I realize that. Deluge gritted her teeth and glared at Fla. If there's anything else that you need, please let me know. Anything else that she needed. What did Deluge need now? What did she want now? Her thoughts froze. No words came out. She was frightened by the words that wouldn't come out. She doesn't think that she has a clear goal in mind anymore. Fla looked up at Deluge and she hid her eyes. Again, I've said this before, but I love Deluge's character development. Not necessarily in a good way all the time, but that there's been a lot of really, really deep changes and themes that have gone on with her character. When you kidnapped Shadowgale, I held a grudge against you, but now I don't blame you anymore. Instead, I blame the one who used you and created you, my acquaintance. Deluge leaned forward with her right leg. The angle of her trident rose steadily. She placed her face close to Fleur. Deluge, she heard a voice from Fall. She didn't register any more than that. What do you mean? Lapis Lazuli, my financial partner. Do you remember a woman who trained you, who taught you all you needed to know as magical girls? So the okay, I was trying to guess who the old lady was, and I think my guess was Grimheart back in Joker's, wasn't it? But it was Lazaline. That was her. So I wonder then, is Lazaline also the old lady that talked to... Gosh, I don't remember. I think it was back in Joker's as well, the old lady that talked to Pithy. I wonder if that was Lapis Lazuli too. The mentor that made everyone other than Prism Cherry into magical girls. The mentor that gave them their medicine. The mentor that taught them about disruptors. Professor Tanaka. Or wait, am I thinking of this wrong? I'll have to go back and reread Joker's, because I don't remember if Professor Tanaka was the old lady that gave them their powers. Because remember when they were first all gathered together for the first time, it was an old lady who gave them their powers. Or who gathered them together the first time. That might have been Professor Tanaka. But if so, if this is a separate person, then the old lady is still a mystery. It's still a while since she was mentioned. It's been a while since she's shown her face again. Deluge was worried about her. Everyone was worried about her. Though she fell out of Deluge's mind until Flem mentioned her, she should have thought of her first. Do you remember anyone guiding you at all? Unnaturally. Deluge remembered. Instructions that came from an unknown source. Paper, information. Indirectly sent, an invisible benefactor. When Deluge thought about the death of the pure elements, her path of revenge started there. There's another Lapis Lazuli, someone who inherited the name. Her powers are to extract memories and emotions and store them into candies. Deluge's trident fell off her hand and made a clinking sound as they hit the floor. Bluebell. By manipulating emotions and memories, she can make anyone into a different person entirely. Okay. So that's what the whole, wasn't it Bluebell wasn't Bluebell line? That must be what that meant. Because either Bluebell was Lapis Lazuli, or Bluebell was using someone, to be... Or Lapis Lazuli was using someone to be Bluebell. By manipulating emotions and memories, she can make anyone into a different person entirely. Deluge picked up her trident and hurriedly tried to get out of her tent. This is so good. There's so many twists in freaking Queens. Deluge picked up her trident and hurriedly tried to get out of her tent. Bluebell, Lazuli is already gone. I already tried searching for her a while ago. She's not in camp. Deluge stopped in her tracks at Fle's words. Oh, and of course she was the one that confronted Glacian at that one time in that one section, didn't she? I need to go back and reread, because it's just that there's so many different twists and so many small things that are hinting at things that you have to pay attention to, that even if I had kept up and was reading things week to week, it's like I just need to go back through and reread some things to refresh myself. Just because there's so many different small things that are being so, well woven together. Deluge stopped in her tracks at Fle's words. She turned around. Fle was watching Deluge while breathing heavily. I don't know what her original plan was. What I believe she was trying to make you into a terrorist, kidnapping Shadowgale, using you as a third party, to attack both Puck and Osk factions without putting herself at risk. Fle narrowed her eyes and took a deep breath. It's not just the land of magic. It seems she detests the very concept of magical girls. I don't know what's going on inside her head, but I do know that you chose none of this. You, me, we were all played by Lazaline, and I'm about to use you for my own ends again, but like Fall said before, you should use me too. Fle extended her right hand. Deluge retreated one step back. She wasn't fully convinced with what Fle said. She stabbed her trident to the ground. You're a selfish, self-serving bitch. I know. You're right. The two of them stared at each other. Fle quietly looking at Deluge. Deluge glaring at Fle. Deluge had been deceived and used. When she escaped from her crisis and tragedy, all her friends had died. Afterward, she had been deceived and used again. Deluge clenched her grip, raising it and her trident upwards. Then she violently stabbed it toward the ground. And see, this is interesting too, because again, might be a bad idea, but I'm trusting Flea with what she's saying here. But that might be a bad idea, because Flea could totally still just be playing everyone. We have to remember too that Flea's not always 100% trustworthy. But in this situation, I believe her. The concrete ground froze beneath her. Just how long have I been manipulated? I'm not going to be fooled again. I know. I'm going to use you. I agree with that. Deluge raised her trident, the scattered snowdrops falling on flesh. She did. Okay, that was like even just this half chapter was incredible. There's so much to think about. That was so good. So like we have to think about how far back all this goes with Lapis Lazuli. Like, because if she was the old lady, and if she's in league with Pithy, then, and also if she was manipulating Flea, then everything going all the way back to Limited could be part of her plan. Which is crazy. And all of this is happening, and this isn't even the main story of Queens. This isn't even dealing with Puck Puck and her plan to kind of maybe take over the world or do something sketchy with the magical device. Like, this isn't even the main story of Queens, and yet it has implications for possibly everything going all the way back from Limited onward. So yeah, I really need to reread some of the older stuff and think about like what all this could mean. Gosh, Queens is so good. Especially the past few chapters have just been a lot of twists and surprises. So I'm excited to continue on. Hope you are as well. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, my thoughts and reaction, all that. Subscribe for more Magical Girl Raising Project, much more on the channel. Like I said, I'll be trying to do better with uploads for this. If you would like a link to the Discord server, ask and I'll give you one. If you want to follow me on Twitter, go ahead and do that too. And if you want to help support the channel on Patreon, it's patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.